Shout out to everybody that's in the building too, man. Shout out to everybody that's in the building. Hopefully everybody's doing fantastic. But yeah, man, I think that they should end it, man, because a lot of these people, and I've seen a lot of people of the Black American slash indigenous stock saying no, they shouldn't. A lot of you guys are tether sympathizers, and I got to speak up on my own indigenous brothers and some of my Black American brothers. Some of you niggas are tether sympathizers, fam. And we can't allow that type of crapola. What's going on, Tyron Ling Ling in the chat? We got Ling Ling in the building. Let's bring Ling Ling up and see what he has to say. Okay.
Oh, what's
All
going
right.
on, yeah?
What's going on, Ling
Time
Ling?
no see. What up?
Yeah,
Yeah, I've been
just
noticing a
been
lot of stuff
chilling.
going on with this. Ghana trying to speak on Black Americans reparations issues, and you got a lot of musty, dusty tethers up on this app, literally trying to make prompts saying, "Can Ghana speak on our reparations?" and try to discredit and dismantle Black Americans, on genealogy, and saying that Ghana is helping us and doing us a favor for interrupting and interjecting themselves into
Yeah, I
reparations.
figured those topics was attacked a few weeks ago. I feel like they may be still lingering. The tethers are going to stretch whatever they can out, as long as they can. But the moral of the story is that the Ghana president is a bunch of scams, and a lot of those sympathizers like James Smalls, 19 Keys, Al Sharpton, and a few more clowns like Umar Johnson all shows allegiance to Ghana. And it's not ironic that you find those bozos at the same place at this UN meeting. As a matter of fact, they're the ones that was designating the locations for those migrant Africans visiting America. They were designating the burial sites and the cemeteries for those people to go to. Our own people working hand in hand with some of these grifters. You know, you can't have it your way at the same time. There's a narrative, you got history, and then we got what lies right there in the gray area. And according to their damn narrative, uh according to their damn narrative, these people were in pro sale and part with this whole transatlantic theme, right? So you can't be a part of it eating off of the shipment out and then try to get double back and get payment for the downplay, what I mean, for the hardship of it. It don't work like that. That's something that they got to, if they want to deal with reparations, you deal with it with the Britons, with whoever it is that you want to go deal with.
They don't see it that way. They want to make it a homogenous clump to where nothing will get answered. They just want to
But
say
listen,
all
shout out to the
inclusive.
brothers in Ghana, man, that's doing their thing. It ain't no hate towards Africa. We don't hate Africans. We don't hate foreigners. Shout out to my brothers in Africa that rock with big Aboriginal power. Shout out to my brothers that rock with me all over. But we do want to highlight the tether class that is in America that seems to align themselves with the supremacist or oppressing class. See, these are the people that we ultimately are speaking on. We're never not speaking on Africans in their own land doing their own thing. So shout out to them. You know what I mean? So we're talking about the tether class who have fled and abandoned Africa and the culture and the fight that must be done there. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
but then they want to complain about um, Europeans in the United States are literally purchasing land and getting all this land and resources from them and wanting to clump that into, oh, y'all stealing things from us. So why don't we just address it on Black Americans
they're
issues?
buying land, and the government still owns a percentage of the land that you still incorporate and buy. They're selling you land for, and also selling you a product like coffee for you to plant on the land that they just sold you. They getting a win-win out of you coming there. They're not giving you anything. You know what I'm saying? So we got to be clear on this thing. Ghana isn't helping anything. They paid. You had to go pay thousands of dollars to get like dual citizenship. You know, the citizenship over there in Ghana. Shortly after Umar Johnson went over there and paid for that shit, allegedly his bank account got hit and hacked, where it's now frozen. So, I mean, you do these things at your own risk, but there's a heavy effort and an invested effort into trying to Africanize the Black Americans, Aboriginal, Indigenous American Indians here, man.
I'm just
You
now
know,
hearing this new organization identity thing with DAFA. What is a DAFA?
there's nothing to even talk about, to be honest. It's old news. It's something that Umar Johnson blurted out in the middle of a cocaine rant, allegedly. And it's really nothing to talk about, to be honest.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like he want to ride the wave of what Tariq Nasheed has created, or that ADOS shit, but it's getting.
I mean, well, he's trying to create an organization because he want to be the leader. See, FBA is about lineage. It ain't a movement. It ain't an organization. It ain't nothing that was created. It goes back. It has lineal connection to it. History, innovation, inventions, prosperity, triumph, and triumphantness, all intertwined within the lineage of our people. We got mislabeling, relabeling, reclassified, gentrification is all this is part of our lineage along with the upkeeps. So, but what we got to understand as black people or Aboriginal indigenous peoples in America, man, is that, like I said, there's been a stride effort to try to Africanize our people. The only movement that our people that obviously is codified on is delineation movement. See, the leader of it is the lineage. See, the leader is the lineage. So there can't be no one leader over one's lineage. The lineage is what's leading the codification for delineation. Okay? And
Mhm.
that has to be elaborated on thoroughly because some people skip over this and some people may have their own preconceived notions. But this is what we have these conversations for. Ling Ling. You feel me?
Yeah, and I find it real weird that the people on the other end of the spectrum, which is the Pan Africans, they can't even get on a board just to come together to get the resources. They can't agree to disagree, but they want to have these arguments and semantics debates over how we use definitions when all of those are just reference points, but it doesn't include like cultural ties to anywhere but in America. That's it. But to total sell out the people to other oppositions and revealing our game plan is really tether behavior as well.
Yeah, and like I said, there's levels to the tethering, and that's why I break down tether awareness on the channel on my YouTube channel. If y'all not subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure y'all go over there to Aboriginal Power on YouTube, and we just started a new YouTube channel that we're going to get off the ground. It's called Tether Task Force TV. That's Tether Task Force TV. Make sure y'all go check that out. And we break down tether awareness. There's levels to tethering. You know what I'm saying? So you got the actual tether himself. You feel what I'm saying? You got the tether lover who's laying up with the tether or in some type of intimate relationship with the tether. And then you got tether sympathizers. Those are your Pan African, your black nationalists, your Umar Johnson, James Moss, whatever the case may be. You see what I'm saying? So it's levels to the tethering. You feel me? How I see it.
So how do you feel about like these people being pro science rather than, like indigenous, spirituality or indigenous science? Why do they have to go for whatever a European's methodology says
I
and
believe
having
science is science, though, Ling Ling.
it.
Believe in science, and I also believe in, the people to have their own spirituality. But I believe it has to be a fine balance in between one. You see what I'm saying? I believe it has to be a balance in between, the other, So some people be more spiritual than it is science, so they get caught up in that. Some people be more science than spiritual, and then they get caught up in that. It's a fine balance. Like I said, science is here to explain natural phenomena. But us as a spiritual people, we understand there's things that are supernatural. You understand what I'm saying? And science can't really measure or explain that. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm able to understand it too.
I bring this up because what I've been noticing from the Native American camp and these Pan African camps, they're actually having a civil war as well because you got Pan Africanists that's pro science, and you got on the Native American spectrum they saying that out of America theory and that they rather go with and cherry pick certain aspects of science to fit their own confirmation bias with their own oral traditions. Could you elaborate on that?
Yeah, see, and this is another thing which you don't see a lot of, which on a large scale, on the articulate scale, and on a more of a scholastic confrontation or a debate format, we got to have these conversations with the Native Americans because they were hoping and wishing and praying we didn't go into their actual history and we didn't use our science, one of the first steps of science, which is observation. And so now that we are able to break down them from a historical sense and point out that they're in fact not American, but in fact Asian invaders into America, you understand me? Then it'll be more conducive. But Native Americans are going to be the ones that run the most from these articulable, rationable conversations of us being having, because it's only going to boil down to us and them who are the true heirs of this land. And once we have this one-on-one or this controlled conversation, the Native Americans and everybody else will see that the Native Americans are just some of the first invaders into the land bestowed by blacks and or aka Aboriginal American Indians.
Mm, interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have these viral conversations. There are not many articulable debates with Native Americans and Aboriginal. We got the one or the two only ones on YouTube with like 50, 60,000 views. You can go check them out right now on my YouTube channel. Like I said, that's Aboriginal Power on YouTube, man. Go come check us the fuck out, man. We rock out over there, man. That's what we do. But
Because
it's
I've been
been
trying
some
to convince
time.
some of
It's been
them.
some time since we had these conversations, and within that time period, I have accumulated new data. I have bestowed new research. So there's some new conversations that have to be had, especially when they were leaning heavily on DNA abstracted results to try to push their argument. We're now seeing the results of Native Americans going outside of their tribal rule, getting these DNA tests, and they're quite frankly shocking. You understand me? So a lot of the Native Americans will sit in their echo chamber and give you a monologue or some type of soliloquy, but they don't want to have a back and forth. You know what I mean? It looks good when you shadow boxing. You understand what I'm saying, my nigga?
Mhm. I've been trying to get them to come on over here so they wouldn't feel intimidated, so they can get in the debate ring and exercise their own beliefs. And
Listen, when you know what you know, there's no point to argue. You don't even gotta rush it. Sometimes you can slow cook them. But what you're not going to do is have people gish gallop. We're not going to do the red herrings. We're going to allow people to ask their question, and people want to answer the question and articulate it, and they even elaborate if need be. But we're not going to do the running around. This is why we have these conversations on TikTok, and when we have these uh, locked in agreements to have these controlled conversations and disagreements, we bring that over there to the YouTube side of things where we can hash it out properly. But over here, this is where we engage the conversation, entertain the claims, and see what the people think around the globe. You understand me? Or this plane of existence for the flat earthers. You see what I'm saying? But shout out to everybody that's listening in. If you're new to the TikTok, make sure y'all fucking follow. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not active as much, but I will be active if we get the followers up, we get the viewership up. Let's get some of the people to support the channel. It's a bunch of noise going down over here on my side. I don't know what's going on. But shout out to everybody that maybe support. I don't even know what's going on. But if you're in the building, shout out to you guys. Just give us a quick share if you're rocking out. Make sure y'all tap that screen too, though. I think that's how y'all like the video. I think a certain amount of likes puts us in an algorithm. So if y'all can just constantly tap that screen for a good brother, that'll do justice. You feel me? But yeah, Ling Ling, yeah, it's a lot to this, man. It's layers to this stuff. You know, Aboriginal and American history is layered like an onion. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm trying to get some of these people to come on in the room.
Yeah, man, they'll come in. Some of them not going to want to have these conversations, and they know who to have these conversations with. You see what I'm saying, brother? Tyron, they pick and choose who they have these conversations with. Trust me, I've been around. You know, I've been around, man. Come on. I've been around, man. Some of the OGs that I came around, they know what's up. You know what I mean? Like, shout out to the OG Kerry Davis, the indigenous ones, aka African Americans ain't African. He know what's up, man. He's an OG. He seen my come in. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta show love to some of the OGs that led the way too. A1, Chief Holiday, Dan Calloway, you know, some of the bros. Uh Tariq Nasheed, you feel me? Ali Muhammad, Clyde Anderson. You know, we got Don Clark,
Yeah,
aka
what's up?
OG.
What's up, man? I was just listening in to your conversation there for a minute, and I thought I'd come on in and chime in about the birthright, my mindset or my point of view on it.
Okay,
Um,
talk to me. And before you go in, just let the people know where you from, where you calling in from.
I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, man. Over here, just right off of Cali. You know, I'm in Phoenix. Here, about 5 million, 6 million of us here in the state here.
And how do
I'm
you,
pretty.
and just curious, how do you identify?
I say I'm a melanated man. I'm a melanated
Are
man.
you a she, them, that? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just fucking with you. But all right, you're a melanated brother. All right, go ahead, cook, brother.
Yeah, as far as birthright, man, I think they had the interpretation right, then they reinterpreted it about whatever 150 years ago, and they've been sticking with that interpretation that if you're born here, regardless of your parents' nationhood, you become a citizen. I think that was a mistake for them to do that because if you read the Constitution, as far as I can understand, is that it says you have to be under the what's that one word they use there? You have to be under the jurisdiction of the
Yeah,
United States.
of the United States. Yeah.
Yeah. So those who are born from parents who are not citizens in the Americas, I don't think they're rightfully they don't deserve the birthright citizenship because you're not citizens of the country that your kids are born in.
And
If you
right,
if
and
you
like I
are,
said, that's a beautiful point because a lot of people come here under these visas, under these other circumstances, and they're not citizens. You see what I'm
yes,
saying? They over here, and then they're two of these elite or immigrants potentially will
yes,
have children here, which will sanction them and qualify them as now being United States citizens under United States jurisdiction. And like I said, a lot of illegal immigrants follow under that same pathway. They come into the country illegally. They get together. They have a bunch of kids or a kid, and now that kid is born in the United States, born in the United States hospitals. That sanctions the parents in America. This is what we call anchor babies because it
yeah, the
anchors
anchor
the
baby.
mother and father here, even though they wasn't so rightfully supposed to be here. So, yeah, birthright citizenship removes that, and I wonder how far they're willing to go back on the birthright citizenship. Is the
You know
next
what,
question.
personally, bro, I don't think they should make it retro because it's been in effect for so long. But going to to
Starting
the
from now on, type
yeah,
shit.
from now on, get
Okay.
it, do it, implement the law the way it was meant to be implemented, not the way it is in the as someone else who interpreted it a few hundred years ago had made the mistake. Because that's the problem we're having with the country right now. People have come in, all these different foreigners, and they're having these anchor babies, and then they're using that as a way to infiltrate our government and our institutions and bend them towards their favor and their mindset.
I think if it would be retro, just hear me out for a second, big brother.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Let's just say if it was retro, it will often remove some of the political seating that is over here, because some of these people up under here under these birthright citizenship acts as well.
Yeah,
You know,
you're absolutely right.
Ron Dami, Kamala Harris, we can, and down there 60% of the National Black Caucus. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, even Barack, man.
Yeah. So
all the way back.
just say that it is retro. And if we're looking at this as an act of fraud, potentially, if we're going to look at it as a criminal offense, it will be considered fraud. It will fall under guidelines of what fraud is, right?
Yes, of course.
And
of course.
we know in the United States, fraud doesn't have a statute of limitation, just like murder doesn't have a statute of limitation.
Oh,
So
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I thought it was
so
only murder.
fraud doesn't have a statute of limitation. And so if those people are still here under those same preconditions, they could fall up under that if it was retro. And I think it wouldn't be a bad idea, is what I'm saying. If
Well,
we're going to keep it clean, cut, and fair. Because that's how we push as Americans, as noble people. We uphold what America's standards is. Equality.
Right. Well, what also comes in there? There's this. You have to have a bit of compassion and mercy for the people.
Absolutely. Which I feel like we always have, which is why they even was allowed to even come here.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my mindset. That's my
But
point
at
of view.
some point in time, we gotta be fair. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. I think I don't think they're going to rule that way, though. I hope they do. That they see the error in their ways in interpreting the Constitution that way that they have over the last 150 years. If they see the error of their ways, then they'll rule.
Yeah, nobody really wants to admit that we screwed up for 150 years. I mean, yeah, nobody wants to admit to that. But
no, they really don't. They just want to, like myself though. I want to move forward because as an American,
but just to get something to be passed, something moving from today on will be more logical to get passed through court.
Yes, exactly. It would be a little more easier to do that than try to make it retro, because there would be a whole lot of confusion.
Absolutely.
All right, brother, man. You guys take care. I just wanted to chime in for a second.
I appreciate your conversation, man. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, you too.
Shout out to you, man. Shout out to the family, man. What do you guys think, man? Should they end birthright citizenship, and how does this affect immigrants in America that aren't quite citizens? You understand what I'm saying? Or only are citizens because they had a child here, or what we potentially will call the anchor baby program or system. Immigration fraud has a statute of limitation. Oh, immigration fraud does have a statute of limitation. Okay. Fair enough. Appreciate that FBA brother. FBA Dimitri. Shout out to you, man. We got EST Texas in the building. What's going on, man? Texas. You with us, brother? What's going on? Talk to me.
Yes, sir. But why? What's up with it?
Man, what's the good old big deal with it, brother?
Yeah, good prompt, brother. I heard what y'all was talking about. I kind of use this with the FBAs too, right? Because a lot of people don't understand that when he put this up, people put most people in a panic, because what belongs to one person, a lot of people that it belongs to like to put it on other people to share their load. especially when it comes to the Black Americans. So everybody fear should be our fear, and I see it in the last couple of years. They make everything a fear about us getting affected next. So, but with birthright citizenship, he did not say he was going to take birthright citizenship away. He said he's going to take it away and bring it back to the original people it belongs to. So it won't be taken away. It's taken away from people that do not fit the
Yeah,
actual
then yeah,
amendments.
yeah. So it's going to be removed from people that it ain't initially applied to, and so we know that that time that it was initially applied has come and gone, but people are still using it. You see what I'm saying? So, uh, yeah, because I think it goes back to like the slaves and emancipation and POW hood after Civil War and all this stuff. Uh,
There you go,
yeah,
POW.
yeah. So a lot of that stuff is come and gone, but people are still using that same systematic act that was in place. You feel me?
See, and this is why I warn my people, man, if you just identifying as black in the FBA, you're admitting from the diaspora you're claiming that you have African descent. You're volunteering to leave this country. If they put paperwork down, they'll decisively make all FBAs accountable for their actions. They'll be leaving.
Yeah, I just think that the FBAs are in a good position, like we were all in at one point in time, before the information was abundant. You know what I mean? Before you got into your consciousness, because we all obviously have grown. You see what I'm saying? And so I just look at those as the brothers that's just now getting into the information. They're just now checking their genealogy, and as brothers that may be ahead of the pack or leading and blazing the trails, sometimes we got to double back to make sure people are staying aligned. And sometimes those bridges that you have to take to get over there to talk to your brother sometimes get burnt because people get too caught up in where they're at historically or in genealogy, historical wise, on their path of knowledge itself. Not everybody's ain't going to be at the same position or at the same place. So sometimes we got to be rational and humble because at one point in time you was also in those same positions until someone gave you the accurate information or pointed you in the right direction that led you to the successful path of knowledge itself. You see what I'm saying? So that's one of my biggest approaches, which is what I do on YouTube. And if you're not familiar, go follow me on YouTube at Aboriginal Power. That's Aboriginal Power on YouTube. Uh, and we've been doing this for a while, man. For some time now. You know what I mean? And trying to bridge the gap. Because at the end of the day, my mission is to go wake up all my brothers and sisters, the most indoctrinated, the heavily deprived neighborhoods, and give them this information and this history and stuff that we are finding that was deliberately hidden and covered up. You know what I mean? So we can't never forget where you came from, is what I mean. Shout out to my sister in the building.
I agree, but we got to understand too. We blame everybody for our downfall and why we're not in control in our own land. But some people did not go through POW ship. Some people can show and they claim all the time they were free the whole time. And they will only put you in a certain box aligned with the United States. See, there's United States citizen and there's birthright citizen. You see what I'm saying? The
Oh yeah,
birthright
yeah, yeah.
citizen for a
Just
long
because
time.
you didn't go through the POW system, which is usually imprisonment, is what that entails. Uh, doesn't mean you wasn't wrapped up in the system. See, when we're talking about thousands and millions of people being captured up and put onto a ship and then reclassified overnight, we're not talking about a physical act. We're talking about a paper act that literally did it, legitimately did it. So when we talk about millions of people being put on a ship, yeah, we're talking about millions of people that was put into a citizenship. Because at one point in time you wasn't. You understand what I'm saying? Then you was. It literally happened overnight. Just like some of the jurisdiction states and stuff like
The
that.
only different when people was put on was called citizen.
I can't hear you, sister. Go ahead, sister. You gotta speak up a little bit.
I don't really want to hear that. I want to go back to what I was on. Yes.
Yeah, she must be on that fentanyl. She was going to sleep. God damn.
Oh,
Baby girl, get it together. It's too early in the day to be on fentanyl. Uh, but yeah, man. Yeah, man, we just got to do what we do, man. We waking our brothers and sisters up, man. That's what we got to do, bro. Straight up. Somebody said, Big Al, they need the knowledge on her. They hungry. Hey, man, we gonna come with it, man. We got a lot of stuff, man. I gotta get used to this format and this setup over here. Matter of fact, my damn phone already going dead. God, let me go grab a charger. Give me a second. Go ahead, hold it down for me, Texas.
I'll wait till you come back. I'm gonna say something to you.
Oh, all right, I'm back. I'm back. Ooh, let me charge
Yeah,
this thing.
I had a prompt, brother. Well, you know how you put a letterhead of what your live is about. Mine, I put the questionnaires in mine. So I had a prompt, and it says,
I'm gonna follow you right now.
how is immigration? Huh?
Yeah, make sure y'all go. I'm telling everybody to go follow you, and I just followed you as well, brother. Yeah, go ahead. My bad, I mean to cut you off.
Yeah, I was asking the question, how is immigration going? What would you like to say to black folks? Now, everybody's still blaming us, and then on the same hand, they're saying we're next. You know, that's what you're talking about right now. But I don't think people know what the world as America is about to become, and it's going to be quite a thing to see.
Yeah, you said that was your prompt question, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I bet you had a lot of people coming in on that live stream.
Oh man, you hear me?
I
You know
already
how the
know.
hate go. Some people, I respect folks that don't don't agree with what I'm saying, but handle themselves on here as though they're walking into a convention center, a house, walking as a guest, coming in, sitting down, waiting for a responding time. Um, Before coming up, you're listening to the flow and the digest of the panel. I've been doing this about 5 years, man. But I've been having, TikTok will give you a certain type of mental accountability for yourself, where you have to reset yourself and get back on whatever's designed for you to be really doing in this world. This can be a part of it. For me, it is, but you
Yeah, I'm
always have
I'm
to
I'm
get
gonna
back to
start
yourself.
incorporating it a little more, mostly just to crossbreed both of my social media platforms to one another, because obviously the people that view over here aren't the people that view my YouTube channel for the most part. So I'm gonna just cross connect that. You feel what I'm saying? It's only right that I cross connect that.
Hmm.
You feel what I'm saying? So yeah, man. If you're not following me on YouTube, make sure y'all go follow me. Uh, and I'm gonna start going on here before I go live on YouTube, just to give y'all the heads up. So y'all can come check out the format. It's a little more scholarly. I'm getting into a lot of information. We're showing a lot of sources. We're going through books, primary, scientific journal reports, historical references. It's the real deal. You feel what I'm saying? So, like I said, I want to engage over here, give the conversations, make my claims. If someone doesn't believe them, we'd be more than welcome to elaborate and show you those and give you the sources so you can verify them on your own time. Man, put that mid
Yeah.
out, man. Come on now. Put that mid out, gang.
We you know how Texas do it, man.
Hey, talk
Ain't
about
no
it.
such ain't no such thing.
Talk about it.
If it is,
I mean,
it's the old
it's
school.
still a little bit, but you niggas our
Yeah.
age definitely ain't gonna even look no way for that type of shit.
What's the name of your old school club in your city? Mine is Banana Tree,
The old school club in my shit is called Club Malibu.
and they smoking that Reggie.
Definitely not no Reggie. Definitely not,
See,
man.
I'm in Tyler, Texas, and at Banana Tree, yeah, they be out there with their Reggie, boy. Now they got the nerves to put it in backwoods.
Lord, yeah, man. I ain't even shit. It's been probably almost a dub. So next season Reggie, man. Uh, you know,
Yeah, I just imagine the stress you putting
I'm
on
where
yourself, smoking a whole three
I've been
five.
where it's legal at for years, man. So we
Well,
good.
they just shut down our dispensaries. They let us run them about a year and a half. I think. See, that's another thing. Uh, the states that really ain't down with it, when they start opening it up, what are they taxing the stores, and millions and millions of dollars just off the tax of the purchase that the government of Texas, well, the statehood of Texas is receiving, like other states. Then
Yeah,
they'll
the
shut it down.
state.
What are they opening the doors for that, to have the money? What are they placing this money at after they receive it, and why do they close the
That's
doors
crazy
for
because one of my
sales
people
after they
said
make
they got a warehouse that they store the money because technically after they
mm-hmm.
tax that, the federal government tax them. They get their percentage. But since it ain't federally regulated, the feds are not getting their taxes, so they're just storing the money, waiting for it to be federally recognized and regulated. And of course, the feds gonna come in and get their cheese. They can't even touch it, man. They just storing that shit. They got warehouses just full of money off of all gas. Facts.
Hold on, brother. In Texas, it's the other way around. So Texas, the uh, federal agencies are being known to go in places that there's a pioneership of smoke shops trying to push it forward, and they sit and protect these shops. If they come in and raid them, within an hour there will be a federal agent there telling them to cease and desist and give everything back. This is why they closed the loophole. See, this is different about
Yeah,
Texas.
some
Everybody
of
in
them,
America has.
the feds pick and choose. There's been a couple dispensaries here, and the feds didn't do nothing. I mean, totally destroyed those people companies. Sometimes the feds they even pick
Well,
and
look,
choose
this
who they raid. Cause like I said, it's not federally regulated, but it ain't something that they really crack down on. Even in California today, it's not federally recognized. So it's state recognized. You know what I mean? But and there are tons of
yeah.
dispensaries and big time companies and grows that get hit. You feel me? By the Fed, they just pick and choose.
So look, you're gonna like this. So today there's only one republic state, or republic, state of the republic left. But there was two within our history of America, and
Right?
it's the Republic of California. Y'all gave it up probably 20 years after coming into the United States Union. But we
And then
wouldn't we
Texas.
wouldn't go into the union without them allowing us to keep our sovereign republic.
I know,
Republic
which is
is a
why y'all been
government
trying to
itself.
branch
So
off into
California
y'all.
was its own.
Which is why y'all been trying to fight, and every now and then fight to branch off to become your own government. Cause I've been seeing those
Yeah, that's the
arguments.
Republican side.
You said it's the
That's
Republican
the
side.
Republicans in Texas. Yeah, they
Yeah,
don't
they
think
they
they
want to
need
branch off
nobody
and
no more.
become their own
We got
nation
our
and
own.
shit.
Yep. We got our own oil. We got our own grow system. We got our own waters. We have at least 50 blue holes, so
Yeah,
we can
y'all,
have
y'all
all
even
the
got
pure
your
water.
own. Y'all even got your own regulated exports of exotic animals down there in Texas. People may not know this, but some of the most exotic private zoos is in Texas, man. Crazy shit, dude.
Facts. Facts. Oh,
Crazy.
it's a place
And
called
there's
Trinity,
and there's
Texas,
and
right,
there's black
right
owned
before you
oil
get to
companies
Dallas.
right now in Texas. As a matter of fact, I'm not. I'm gonna say that. That's a whole nother bill. I'm gonna break that down because
Hold on.
if
Let me
y'all,
say this. I have a friend, and his land reaps. They have at least 30 oil rigs on their land. It reaps $25 million. So they split that between the oil pumpers, the company itself, and the land. owner. So he has been the landowner for 5 years, but they didn't know. So this man has, um, he showed me the statement, $100 million that they will not give to him straight from a bank, but they want to do something like Navy Federal where it'll be issued out in parchments. I said, man, that's worth getting a lawyer to make them pay you straight out. Well, either way, you good though. He ain't got to work. His kids ain't got to work a day in his life. Uh, their kids, long as nobody in the chain fucks it up, right? Or I'm sorry for cussing if you don't do that, but
I mean, I
long
try
as
to
nobody
regulate.
mess
I
it
know.
up,
I mean, I
that
know. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. You can. I think you can cuss on her.
yeah,
I'm really not. Yeah.
that blame cussing where you just word cuss after word cuss. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, yeah. You know, you can get it off every now and then. Shit, there ain't nothing wrong with it. That's part of our vernacular. You understand? Shit. You understand? Shout out to
Yeah,
everybody that's in the
and,
building, though, man.
and see, even between ourselves, we try to put these differences from state to state, look-ships, color, and all this. We toned down the black and light skin thing. I ain't been hearing so many topics
Yeah, and that thing that
virally
was something that I
talking
never
about.
really dealt with in real life. That was like an online topic that was pretty much started by I'm gonna say tethers. But in real life, those conversations really never wasn't had. I'm talking about from nowhere, and I've lived in quite a few places. You feel me?
Well,
So
In Texas, my mom's people, my mom's big mama, so her mother's mother was the lightest one. She was a caramel brown, but everybody else black, brown, dark brown.
yeah, we got
You know,
man, we
my
got
dad's
every
people
shade you
are,
can
are
think
dark
of in my
brown.
family, man. I ain't gonna lie to
Yeah,
you.
but
Every shade.
in Texas, bro, it is a kind of thing. In the South, Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, it's really a Creole war. The light skin thing is more like you're pretty, you're more respected, people like you more, you can go more places without getting looked at. It's a thing like that. But it's the ones that they are black, but you know they got mixing in them. That's
Yeah, I was
it's
about
kind
to
of
say
like
maybe it is in some of
uh
those little places like that, but like Alabama, it ain't really like that. Mississippi, it ain't like that, and I'm from Tennessee, it definitely ain't like that. You feel me? Colorism ain't really an issue amongst our people. You know what I mean? Unanimously, when we come in general with our people across the board, you feel what I'm saying? It ain't like that in Philly. It ain't like that in Jersey. It ain't like that in Delaware. You feel what I'm saying? So. Uh, I don't know. It could be like that in
but
various
TikTok
different. Go ahead.
and TikTok, me if I show my face, you know, it be with women though. Some women that are from the Aboriginal diaspora, they'll look at me and say, "Oh, you look kind of African." Da 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 da. You know what I'm saying? Or
No, they
you
won't
too
do you
Afro
like
this,
that. Well,
you too
they,
black to be one of us. You can tell your color. You see what I'm saying? But look,
you
Mexicans
know,
call me all the time black black Mashika, but my dad's Cuban. So like, look at this, man. I can't grow no beard. It took me almost eons to grow a full goatee. My sideburns will never fully connect and have a full. See, I never have that, man. That look
and
at the
listen,
black
I can
Cubans.
say I can see some American features on you for sure. You don't look like a immigrant, but then I can see some of the potential, I guess Afro-Cuban features that you possess as well. You feel me? With you having a mixed lineage. You feel what I'm saying? It happens. That's genetics. You feel me?
Well, see, I don't think. So let's break down who the Cubans or the Caribbeans really are. Are they really Caribbeans? No, they're South Americans, Ecuador, Peruvians, and Brazilians, and the Amazonian people, right? So we don't even like being called uh, Caribs, like or Caribbeans. We're Arawak, unless you're uppity Puerto Rican or Dominican me not. That's where they get that me not black. It ain't being racist to you per se, but they're not gonna tell you how they know. But if they really know who they are, they know they not all the way black. But in America, yeah, you are black. But in their country,
I
they're
wouldn't
not the
consider
black Puerto Rican. They're not the black
Cuba.
Dominican.
I wouldn't consider Cuba America. Based off of the culture and them. They have their own identity. They have their own culture. They have their own rich history, which they can elaborate on. You feel what I'm saying? So it may be some shared culture. You feel me amongst Americans, and I
Excuse me.
don't believe all Americans are the same. You feel me? America, all continents come with a diverse place. Is a diverse place. You feel what I'm saying? And I think that's just natural. All plants ain't the same. They don't have a relationship with one another in origin or nothing. So what I'm saying is certain people can be in the same proximity and not be the same. Just because we're now, I will say that y'all are aboriginal indigenous to the Western Hemisphere. You feel what I'm saying?
Can I lay some? Yeah, I agree. But a lot of people, it's only about two or three real bloodlines, ancient bloodlines in America, and it's the Amaru blood. I ain't talking about that whole policy or that movement. It's a real people. They're Arawaks. They are the Amaru
Yeah,
from the
the
Inca and the Mayan to
yeah,
you
the
know what I'm saying. But if
Amaru.
you
I'm
look up
very
the
familiar
Arawak
with the
and you ask,
Amaru. Okay.
if you look up the Arawaks and ask what did they bring to the Western Hemisphere and what were their empire peaks, what did they do? So they give ancient earthworks. They give them ancient builder. They call them the ancient builder race of the Americas.
Yeah, the mound builders.
Now, if you pay attention, yeah. So
Yeah, they break
so
down the mound builders.
I ain't trying to go against your word.
No, no, no. You're right,
I
but
ain't
they,
trying to
they
go
break
against your
down
word, brother.
mound. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish cooking. Go ahead, do your thing. You cooking?
But 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 my whole thing is because some of us like to say, oh, he a Cuban descent, man. He ain't really halfway us, da da da, right? But I connect bloodlines, and then once the bloodlines are linked, we'll go with even if you are religion or not. This ain't about religion. This if you take it right, the blood lineage. Just look at the blood lineage. You understand there's a North Kingdom and a South Kingdom supposedly in that book. North America is the same link up in lining. And they call one place that connects both the Fertile Crescent. What would that be? The Yucatan. Then if you look at scientists and people that dug up stuff, they say the Fertile Crescent, they call the Yucatan in between America and South America. It's the Fertile Crescent. They call that the birth of civilization in this land, right?
Where'd you get that
So
from?
it describes it. Uh, these are like references leaked in the Bible. It says that there's a mother
I'm
river and a
saying,
father
who'd you
river.
hear that from,
Now we
though?
only talk about the mother.
No, I'm saying, who did you hear
Hear
that
what
from?
from? What part?
That whole
What part?
breakdown about the Yucatan, the Fertile
Oh,
Crescent, the
oh,
Gulf
it's
of Mexico, connecting it to the western tips of Cuba, which is where you're potentially going. I just want to know
it's a,
where'd you hear that from. That's all. I'm just curious.
oh well, oh well. If we would have to take the water levels out to sea for we for me and you to talk about the connection to Cuba and the mainlands because yeah, it's the Bimini roads that go all the way to South Carolina one way and go all the way to Venezuela the other
Yeah,
way.
no, I'm not
You know what I'm
saying that
saying?
there's
But
not a
this
connection between these people, but they're separate people. And so, yeah, like I said, all this that you talk about, I'll definitely go into deep dives on it, show the information. Pretty sure you're seeing the underground pyramids uh, at the western tips of Cuba. If you're bringing up this topic, I'm pretty sure you've seen the photos. But
yeah, the Bimini.
just to show people how in depth I am with it, do you know who produced those photos?
I'm not aware, brother.
You go look it up. It'll shock you. And next time my conversation is going to, well, I can go and give it to you now. I want you to do your research. Ghislaine Maxwell provided those photos for you.
Yeah.
Did you
What's
know
the
that?
importance? And I'm not taking away from what you said, but what's the importance of her?
Well, she's like caught up in this whole Epstein shit.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Well, do you know? Let me ask you this:
Ghislaine Maxwell, you
Who's
know.
who's the most in? Let me ask you this: Who do you know is more aware of the real world and who everybody really is and what the world really is about? The common people or the people that collect all these items that done seen these items or believe in these items being a real thing?
Well, I believe if somebody deliberately covers up something or hides something, then those people that's hiding it definitely truly knows the history. And a lot of those people were under the guides and secret societies, some famously known like the Masons or the Freemasons, used to actually
So
document stuff
the
like
rich
that.
people,
So, well, yeah, I
so
guess
the
you could
rich
say
people.
rich. I guess you could say rich people. Yeah, rich people have the means to
All
get
right, so
stuff. But I'm pretty sure there's filthy rich
yeah,
people
to
that
be a
don't know a
con.
damn thing, though. You know?
Can I chime in for a second, man? I would say, like he asked the question, who? I would say the intellectuals are the ones,
Yes, the connoisseurs, right?
yeah, the ones who have the money and who also have the connections, because um, I look at things from a global perspective, and the reason I say that is because when you start delineating like with nations and you know all these different the nationhood thing, then that's when the divisions come in and people begin to corrupt the mindset of the people, and then they start fighting each other. We live on one globe, and the thing about it is the ones who are in control of it, and it's only a few big nations who are in control of what goes on the planet. Once you get the corrupt ones out and you get some better leadership in, then this ideal that America's been built on can come to fruition, can manifest itself. But until that happens, it's not going to be able to. It's until you get that corrupt leadership out of those few nations and those few intellectuals and rich folks that control everything. You get some of them out of there, then things can change. But up until then, it's probably going to remain the same. That's why we got what's going on right now in the world today. You know, they're battling it out to see who can still maintain that what they call hegemony, the control over the globe.
Yeah,
They're not worried.
it's about economic control, which is ultimately what we will potentially connect to centralized banking, right?
Yes, yes.
And we know that the country that we're seeing bang it out with doesn't have centralized banking. And ironically, their allies, Russia and China, doesn't
Oh yeah.
have centralized banking as well. So, like I said, that's why they're heavy pushing the regime change, but also throwing out an oil war and a tariff war in front of you. It's all a facade.
Well, those are factors in it,
I
but
mean, of course,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
they want to
But
control
let
that.
me say this. Let me say this, brother. Let me say this. Yes, that's what makes you the power. But why are you trying to stay in power? What are your secrets about? Why would you help a people that we all know are not from a place take over another place? Why? Because they help keep a secret in America too. They're claiming to be a people. These people they're attacking are telling black people that who we are, they are not who they are, and they're claiming to be who we are. So it's deeper. Once we get to keep on going, we learn who we are over here. If you believe, you can find in census records that your people were listed under certain names, certain places, owning land, being a representation of at least one of the 500 nations under that book, 500 nations of American Indians, right? So at the end of the day, it's just one puzzle piece. You got to keep on going, brother. Let me ask you this, Don. You got the Our Horse, right?
Yes.
All right. So if I can, so you believe in certain things that they follow, right?
Well, I like that imagery because it's like being a watchman. Because once you ascend to a certain amount of knowledge, then you can kind of oversee or be a watchman as to what's going on, and then
Facts.
give your mindset on it. Not so much that like you referring to like Akhenaten and the values of or their spiritual values of like the sun being the source of energy, and I believe in that. I do. I
What
do think
about what
I know
about
that to
what
be
about
true.
some of their
This is
earlier
where I'm going
knowledge?
with it.
What about some of their earlier knowledge about where some of their knowledge come from? So when you go into like the Perk M Heru or the Book of the Dead or the Maximums of Ptahhotep, and you go into those particular segments like Akente Amentu, right,
Uh-huh.
which translate to the pure most Westerners. Who are they referring to if Egypt is where it's placed in the Mediterranean?
I, I
And
I would say this much. I would say that those stories, some of them are real historical events, and some of what you read or some of that knowledge that they dispense is mythological. So as you like I said, as you begin to understand and ascend on your knowledge and your intellect, then you can people would say pick and choose what you think you want to use as a part of your own philosophy, uh, and that's kind of what I do because I don't ascribe to being this or that, but like I was saying about the sun, I believe the sun is the originator of all that we are here on planet Earth, and the moon too. The two of them or the three of them are connected,
This,
but um, as Akhenaten was espousing that the sun is the ultimate, and it is in our solar system. We live in a universe too, which our solar system is a part of. But until you keep digging deeper and deeper to find out we're all just pretty much energy, and once that energy is goes through its course, like you and I, we're only going to get so many years here, and that energy is going to be extinguished at some point. We might get 70, 80 years or whatever, even 100, but
AB,
well, it'll be
we're only
AB.
energy.
transferred. It'll be
Let
transferred
me
for sure.
let me say
Well, it
this.
is, it is, it is transferred through you to your kids. You continue on through that sort. But you as an individual, you're only given so much time. We're only given so much time. That's why when we're here, we got to do what we can. Those of us who can ascend to
That's
those.
that's why that's why sometimes it ain't about what you do, it's how you do it. Because, like I said, words are fade. You feel me? Books
Yeah.
are rot. You feel what
Yes.
I'm saying? But philosophies and perspectives usually last sometimes an eternity. And we're seeing that right now with some of the dogma of some of the religions that we see today.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, man.
so
Let
we
me
know
let me
that
say let me
sometimes
say this, AB. My
your
bad.
impact that you leave on people sometimes can stick around for a long time. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah, ideology can last a long time. That's why they tell them what the battles that they fighting over there now over in the Middle East there, it's ideological. So it's hard to get rid of that, man, because it goes from one mind to the next mindset. So once you get like they unalive the leader, right? The leader's been unalive, but the ideology still goes on.
shout out to
Let
And
Tribe
me
that's
say
Up.
this, y'all.
Shout
so
out to Tribe Up for the
I would
gifts.
think this. Thank
what's up?
y'all. Thank y'all.
Yeah, shout out to everybody
I
for
would
the
say
gift.
this, brothers. We're not understanding that. Yeah, it might be ideology, but it's remembrance too. It's history. So I follow history, and with these with face, you can see what is real and what ain't. And
Yeah,
you can
but
understand that these scientists are chasing scientific explorations of certain
yeah,
aspirations
but
of the Bible
history
to see if
history is
they
only
align.
limited. History is ain't gonna be based off of remembrance. History is gonna be based off of recordings because naturally we are creatures of amnesia. We forget things, And this is why it became a very important thing to put stuff in stone so it wouldn't erode like paper and rot away like plant life. You understand what I'm saying? So that's
That's what I love about what our ancestors did across the continents. That they put it in stone, man. Because
and then the
what you
reason
just
our
said.
ancestors recorded shit is because they understood that they were a product of amnesia and knew that at some point in time the generations to come will forget. And so we have to record it. So history is only a result of recording, and a recording is only an abstract remembrance of forgetting. You understand it? So it works hand in hand. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
it's
So
a, it's a,
it's
it's
very
a,
important for us to document our situation now. That's why I encourage brothers and sisters to write books. You feel me? Put out your dialogues, put out your documentaries. You feel what I'm saying? Your biographies. You feel what I'm saying? Put your story out there because it's abstractly unique to you and
you know
how it
what?
plays into the bigger whole. But go ahead, my bad, family. Go ahead. Y'all cook.
I'm glad you mentioned that because when you look at the hieroglyphs and the ancestors knew that, hey, look, we have to leave a historical record that's going to last
Facts.
for thousands of years. And one of the best ones that I've ever seen is the picture over in Egypt on the. I'm not sure if it's in one of the temples or where it's at exactly, but the brothers have shown a display of it where there's a picture of the sun and the sun rays are coming down on a woman, a child, and I think it's one of the servants that is kneeled down before her.
Right.
And it shows the reverence that our ancestors had and the importance of those three things in connection to our place in the universe and our covenant with the place we live on, the planet
That's
Earth.
funny. That's
That's why I
funny you
say I
said
really.
that because when I went back and looked at some of my ancestral burial sites, when I went to go put flowers down on some of my loved ones, I happened to look at some of my older ancestries that's also buried there, and I noticed that they always had a large paragraph breaking down a small segment that they wanted to be highlighted about their life. That's in stone, literally.
Yes, that's come from our ancestors' ancient history of
Yeah,
doing that.
that's so so for you to get out there and start recording shit in stone now, you may look crazy, right? Abstractly, but 1,000 years they'll be reading your story.
That's right. It'll be right there. It'll still
Okay.
be there. I, you know,
Exactly.
I
So I think we did that over here. That's what I
Oh
argue.
yeah, that's for
Is
sure.
and then you have to you have to understand that if Egypt was a thing, right? They had 7 years of famine. So where did they get that wheat from? If whole of Africa was under a scourge, they got
Well,
you. We still got the same
you gotta realize
wild thing going.
Egypt ain't a product of African civilization, and I break that down in prior bills, but just in a nutshell, that comes from someone traveling there with the said knowledge and bringing it and creating it. And not only does the archaeological and other data in the anthropological data says that, but their documentation says that. That's why I brought up the Perkin Heru in the Kente Mentu segment earlier, because that's a primary from them people saying where their ancestors and the prior knowledge to them coming there. You understand what I'm saying? And how it got there. You see what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So a lot of this information is very pertinent. Like you brought up the statues that we see, like you said, carving in on the stone. Olmec people and mound builder cultures were masters at that carving. It's actually a particular category for that type of carving. They call it high relief carving. It's where it gives a three-dimensional edge and you're chipping away, giving it that particular look. That's called high relief carving. And our ancestors mastered that over here in the Americas.
it's amazing that they could do that so many thousands of
Absolutely.
years ago,
Yeah.
and that even today, like they still puzzling over how I think I heard you guys
Yeah,
talking
they
about
will
physics.
struggle. They will struggle doing it out of a regular rock. They did it out of basalt, which is like you need like a diamond to cut that type of. It's very
Yeah,
strong. It's hard. You know what I mean? So,
as far as the pyramids go, there's definitely a connection there between the ones that are here in North America and the ones that are here, or the ones that are
well,
in
the
Africa. There's
one
definitely
The one that is in Africa has a connection, but the ones that came after the first one came from other people trying to mimic the culture. So when you go back to look at one of the oldest pyramids, for instance, in America, that will be the one in Corral, right? It's a U-shaped pyramid. But then you got the pyramid of Chichula, pyramid of the sun, which has the step pyramid, which is codified. America became the capital of step pyramid structural style, even though they have over 10 other styles. The first one ever built in Africa is the Dozier Pyramid, which is
Okay.
abstractly unique from all the rest of the pyramids from Khufu and Khafre, right? So the Dozier Pyramid is the only step pyramid in Africa.
Mhm.
You understand? So, so that lets you know that the pre-dynastic and the early people who built Egypt aren't the same people who started building and came later. You understand? So,
Right.
and that's when we get into the pre-dynastic kings list, which is almost totally removed from history. And there's a reason for that. And so when you get about the mound builders and some of the indigenous peoples that went over to the Mediterranean around 10,000 years ago to settle that particular area, they end up moving to different areas. They've been classified as different names, but all ultimately stemming from one particular place.
Yeah. Now that you mentioned that erasure part, that I heard you kind of briefly go over that. And I think that's part of the problem with a lot of us, the new generation, is that they don't look back and see that part of it, because it's a part of our real true history has been erased, or they tried to erase it and they couldn't do it because, like I said, our ancestors were smart enough to understand that, hey, there might be challenges to our divinity, so we're going to have to make sure that it lasts forever. So we got to do it in a way that makes it last forever.
And I
And
Yeah,
think one
yeah.
of them is
Like,
when our ancestors said our skin folks ain't kinfolk. I
that's
think
right.
that,
That's true.
yeah,
Even
all
though we're
skin
all
folks.
melanated, that's why I call myself a melanated person, a melanated man. I'm not that dark. I'm probably would be more like a caramel because my folks are out of Texas, was that Dangerfield, Texas, and then on my father's side, they're out of Mississippi, Oklahoma, in those two areas. And I'm pretty sure you probably know about the Trail of Tears. My ancestors were a part of that because they started in Mississippi, and of course they had them, the Trail of Tears, where they relocated them back over into or over to Oklahoma. A lot of the tribes out of that area. So you know, I that's why I say melanated. Because even associating black, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's not actually correct, because there is no such thing as a black nation. And we can create one, but there's no such thing as what I would say just a black nation. It's a global, it's a black globe, yeah, but not nationhood. Like I said, nationhood, it creates a lot of division because they draw lines. I mean, how many of these nations are less than 100 years old, man? And you know why? Because of colonization, right? So that's the situation we're in. But we're gonna battle through it. We'll battle through it and straighten it out.
Yeah, that's a whole
see, a
nother
lot of
topic of
nations were raised.
conversation. Once you lay it out, but yeah, just to move on. But shout out to everybody that's listening in, man. Probably gonna rock out for a few more minutes. I see we got a Native American burn straight Blackfoot in the building, baby ghost. If you want to come on and have a
Well,
conversation, you're more
Seneca,
than welcome to come to us. Invite.
he said he Blackfoot. He told
Well, if
you he
I walked
Blackfoot.
across the burn straight barefooted, I'm pretty sure I'll be Blackfoot too, brother.
He said he's Seneca.
Uh,
Oh man, yeah.
The only time I ever heard of Seneca is the Seneca village, and they call these people uh, originals to that actual place.
Where is that at, Seneca?
It's a park now in New York.
Oh, in New
Yeah,
Sen-
York.
they called
the
it a
Seneca
Negro
village
burial
was
ground, and that area was all part of Lenny Lenape territory, and we know for a fact that Lenny Lenape, according to William Penn's record, was described as a black man. At least the chief was. That would be Chief Tammany at that particular time. Chief Tammany, King Tammany at the time. Yeah, whatever you want to call him. The King of Kings is what they refer to him as.
Mm. Mm. So let me ask you guys this question: Was
That was
most
in
of the
Philadelphia, by the way.
most of the 13 colonies inhabited prior to colonization by black tribes or melanated tribes, or was
All
it
the way to Texas.
What'd
all
you
the way to
say?
Texas?
From what you talking about, all the way down to Florida, all the way to Texas.
Man, these
Some were in
colonies
the
were so
hills.
small. They were like a neighborhood, dude. Like a neighborhood of
No, he talking
ratchet.
about us being in the 13. He was talking about us being in the 13 before the 13.
Well, we
So
wasn't
these
really in their
13 states were
neighborhoods, is
black.
what I'm saying. We wasn't we wasn't in their neighborhoods. Like they wanted us in their neighborhoods. As a matter of fact, some of the earliest settlements and colonies literally starved because of no connections with the indigenous Negroes that was here. You feel me? You go to John Ross and Jamestown. There's a whole era with those people called the starving time. It's where you literally didn't do no business with them. They starved out. Like they can't cut it in
Facts.
America without your help. And it's been that way all the way up to now. You literally fuel their conveyancy. You understand?
And the big problem we had with them from my history of my tribes, right? In Texas, we known as the Eshak. They call us Atacapa, right? They said the Choctaw gave us their name, but if I'm not gonna go all up in it, but the region that we control in Texas, Louisiana, they give that to the same people that called us that an enemy. We're supposed to be enemies. No, it's bigger than that. But what I'm saying is, when it comes down to what we're talking about, a lot of lands were provision lands for living estates, and then you had game hunting grounds. These people came here and started staying on our burial grounds, our hunting grounds, um, right on the mounds in certain accounts.
Yeah, when they
Tried to
started
build right on the
encroaching
mountains
like
because
that,
they were scared.
when they started encroaching like that, there was a lot of mixing going on by that time. You see what I'm saying? So, for
Yeah.
instance, in places like where I'm from, which I got records that go back to like 1758 in Tennessee, bro. And according to history, there was no European settlements in Tennessee until 1768. You see what I'm saying? And so there in Tennessee, the part I'm in from Tennessee is literally touching Virginia, and we know for a fact they were in Virginia. So they wasn't expanding and encroaching into unfamiliar territory. They really stayed in a close relativity area than where they first came in at.
Yeah,
It was a
my
while for
peeps.
them to start venturing west.
I remember you mentioned Choctaw. My genealogy kind of touches on Choctaw because it's Chickasaw actually that I found were my grandfather was one of them, was one of the Chickasaw Nation, but I haven't been able to look back far enough to
Was he
understand.
considered a Chickasaw freeman?
Yes, sir, Chickasaw
Okay.
freedman.
Yeah, that's what
I
I
had
thought.
I
So
had one of the brothers look. We were on on the panel like today, and he looked it up for me right quick, man. And I was surprised because I didn't really even know that history, but I'm going to do a little bit deeper dive here. I haven't done it yet into looking back into on my father's side.
man, listen, that's one
Chickasaw
thing I'm gonna encourage you,
sister
bro.
tribe.
Listen, your knowledge of self, meaning your lineage and knowledge of your lineage, genealogical research, is gonna literally debunk the mainstream narrative they try to blanket it on everybody. So I encourage you to talk to some of your elders if you can, dive into those genealogical records. You feel what I'm
Right.
saying? Straight up.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And like I said, for
Absolutely.
those that's listening in, hey, this your brother Aboriginal Power, man. If you're not following me right now on TikTok, go ahead and do so, man. Don't be no buster. Be a real one. You feel me? And if you're not following me on YouTube, go follow me on YouTube at Aboriginal Power, man. Y'all already know the vibes. Y'all already know the vibe. Let's see who sending in requests. Some people be sending them in and cutting them out. I want to get on. Mm.
All right, good brothers.
But
I'm
yeah,
a, I'm
man.
a,
This shit is connected, but it's everybody had a rich history and their own identity. We're not everybody, and
yeah.
everybody not us. You know what I'm saying? So
Like I say, there was a lot of race mixing going on over the years, and that's kind of
of
what America
course.
is. It's a melting pot. It's a melting pot, but that don't mean
Well,
you
we
can't.
can't just say it because they say it. Your genealogy will tell you if you was mixed with all these shit that they say.
Exactly. That's why I say
Because I
absolutely.
did my genealogy, I don't have no mixture to nothing. Like I'm pure American. From far as I done went back, it's like damn,
You said
no
you went back to
average.
the 1700s,
Yeah,
1700s.
1758, 1759, roughly, I believe. Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Some of my
Just
family
that three.
fought. Some of my family. I think I found records of some of my peoples that got a payout from one of his descendants that fought in the Revolutionary War. Like I found all kind of shit, dude.
Oh man,
Dude, that was crazy. I love it. I go into it all the time, man. I
did
find new
you did
stuff
you
all the time.
did you go through which platform did you use for that? Did you
I
just
use Ancestry.com. I went and bought the
yeah?
full packet, and then a lot of the data that I entered was some stuff that one of my great aunties had. She had been doing genealogy 40 years, well, fuck, 20 years before I was even born. You see
Oh
what I'm
man,
saying? I ended up
yeah. You
going to
got a
her.
resource of
Conversation
information.
led to one to another. She was like, "Listen, I got this packet down here. I've been doing genealogy for this long since the '70s." I'm like, "Oh damn."
Yeah, you
So
sound like you have. You have a lot of detail in what you and you have a lot of historical facts to
listen, I
back it
found
up.
the historical book by the Library of Congress in my state. It's called The Natural and Aboriginal History of Tennessee. Hereby out the first settlers of Tennessee in 1768. So it talks about the
Wow.
first settlers. It's a very historical book going to the Aboriginal people, what they
Uh-huh.
did, lifestyles, what their origins is, what nations they was connected to, origins, place of names, all kind of shit. Excuse me. It's fire, bro. I did whole live streams on it on my YouTube channel. Like I say, I go into acute detail, showing you the stuff almost step by step, line for line, and also give you guys the nice treat of the actual source itself for you to download and take home. You read for your own. Yeah. So go
Thanks,
check me
man.
out on
I'm
YouTube,
gonna
man. So y'all
definitely
gotta
do my
follow me
research.
on the YouTube side, man. That's where we get the treat, man.
I will. I'm gonna check you out on your YouTube page. Yeah. Like I said, I definitely need to do some more research on my own genealogy and try to get some history as
I
to.
encourage you, bro. At least about if you can do it 2 times a week, 2, 3 hours, 2 hours, an hour a week, 2 times a week. Bro, you gonna start getting into it. You gonna love it, bro. Especially if you're on the right path, right?
All right,
You
man. I
you you
appreciate
might you
you.
might have heard something about your great granddad and knew he passed away or something at an early age or something like that, or grandma, but you don't know how. You'll find the records in the hospital records saying how, when, the date, where. Like, yeah, it's crazy, bro. Like,
Wow, the records are pretty that detailed when you go back that far, huh? Because
yeah, they have
you know,
how. Listen, we're the most recorded people probably in America. I ain't gonna say probably, definitely in America. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I got ancestral records and literature that's older than every West African nation.
that's important. Like I said, because yeah, those nations have only been around, most of them less than 100 years, maybe less than 50 years. A
That's
lot
what I'm
of them.
saying, brother. Like
So
we're a very important and noble people, man. And when even our ancient history, as far as the indigenous references, history will tell you that they're some of the most sophisticated record keepers. We got records in the form of steles, in the form of miros, in the form of codexes. You know what I'm saying? And later on in scripts.
right,
So,
yeah, they've been recording
very
history for a long
recordative.
time.
Yeah, very detailed recording people of a lot of different things. You
Well,
understand? So,
like I say, I always give homage to our ancestors, man, because they were very smart. Unfortunately, colonization came along and kind of screwed up everything. Like I said, but I'm looking to the future and to the youth in the future, the ones who need to do their research and understand that, hey, there's a covenant between you as an individual and as a people to kind of rectify some of the issues that we're dealing with. Because if you don't, we're going to keep facing them until you do. So from one generation to the next, we got to keep beating that drum beat. That drum beat got to keep getting through, because that's what's going to make it happen. It's just like it took them hundreds of years to get to where they're at. It may take us that long too. You know what I mean? It may take us
Yeah,
that
I
long. Hopefully
mean,
not.
it may be easier to do some shit, but it may be a lot harder to undo some shit, is what
Oh
I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
sometimes we gotta just know that we gotta apply the work. And the delineation movement and our brothers and sisters getting on code is ultimately gonna lead to loving, protecting, shopping, and organizing with your brother and the sister. You understand me?
Yeah, most definitely, most
So,
definitely.
because at the end of the day, once we understand the power that we have, we still have spending power in a capitalistic country and nation, which we network as a whole around $5 trillion. We spend around two of that annually. So we have
Yeah.
enough to maintain our own, create economic footing, and then ultimately political footing. And with that, family, I enjoy the rest of y'all day. This your brother Aboriginal Power, and we out of here.
All right. Peace, brother.